Hello, I made a video a few months ago about the roof rack I made with the integrated lights for my 2004 Jeep WJ Grand Cherokee. There's a lot of questions about it, so I decided to make this video. The first thing I want to address is how I mounted it. What I did is I used these inch-wide, quarter-inch flat bar steel, and I drilled holes in them to mount them to the just original roof rack runner holes that are already in your Jeep. And I mounted those onto the Jeep first, and then once I got the full roof rack assembly finished, I lowered it down on top of the Jeep, and that allowed me to weld these brackets in place while it was on top of the Jeep in order to keep that curve. That front bracket. As far as the light mounting, for the front light, there's no bucket, it just hangs underneath the front lip, which I made. I made this angle in it just because it looks better. And you can see the bolt there. The bracket for it, I made myself. The bracket that came with the light originally was a little bit too long, so the light would have hit the roof. All the lights are aux beam I got off Amazon. For all the rest of the lights, they are mounted inside these buckets. You can see the bolt right there. There's this piece, this is all 10 gauge steel. And underneath you can see I welded a piece of, just another piece of 10 gauge steel square with a hole in it, and that allowed me to recess the bolts slightly so that they don't really stick up too much. For these lights, the aux beams, they come with these blocks on them, and you're supposed to mount additional bracket it comes with to the block, and that allows you to swivel the lights, but it also drops them down more. I found that if I just mounted the block directly into the bucket, it allowed me to seat the lights up there better, and it was the right angle for me anyway, since I just want these to point kind of down. As far as the shape of this bucket, for all the corner buckets, you can see the shape up here. It's cut here, and then this 1.5-inch square tube just slides all the way over here, and I welded this seam. You can see the shape of that around here. It's a little bit dirty right now. And up in here. And that's the same for all the rest of the lights, just different shaped buckets. The rest of the buckets are pretty simple. This is all 1.5-inch square tube. For the tie downs, this is just 1/2-inch square tube, and this is 1-inch square tube. I've just got expanded steel with more 1-inch square tube going across. And the rear corner lights are the same as the front corner lights. They all have holes in the back. You can see there for the wire to come out. The rear bucket is the longest, and the blocks on this one are a little bit different, but it works out the same. For the wiring, you can see the wiring harness I made all up in there. Just runs around the whole thing and all comes to this point over here, which I should probably tidy up a bit more, but I drilled a hole in the roof, ran it down. I pulled back the headliner and ran the wiring just along here, down this pillar here, underneath this plastic, and behind the dash. It gets power from the fuse box, and then I installed these switches. These are just custom switches. I don't remember where I got them. I just Googled custom switches. And those are running through relays because I didn't want to put all that amperage through just switches. So the switches, as I've shown you before, control different sections. I think that's it. Any more questions, just let me know. Thank you.